Last Cancora, Aristot. We are all aware that there are major problems in the current allocation model for resource teaching hours. And indeed it is an issue with many parents and teachers throughout my own constituency of Roscommon, Galway, and they have raised the issue with me. Only yesterday I was contacted by a young teacher from Roscommon town who pointed out there is so much uncertainty around the new arrangements for the NCSE model for special education needs in schools. Parents have been left in the dark and they do not know if their children will have learning support and resource hours. Teachers are unsure whether they will have jobs next September, and principals and schools don't know what their staff allocation will be next year. As my colleagues have already pointed out, a number of people who are looking for assessments for their children have gone to private sources. And in the case of some of those parents, they have paid between €450 and €1,000 for the service. Now, that in itself is totally wrong. I understand, where you're coming from as a government, and I don't have any doubt about your sincerity, Minister, or Ms McEntee. But this is the reality. In the next 2 minutes, what I'm going to tell you about my own county of Roscommon. A total of 132 children are currently waiting for an assessment with a child psychologist in County Roscommon, with some children waiting over a year for the appointment. I recently obtained, through a parliamentary question from Deputy Thomas Byrne, figures which show a huge increase in the number of children on a waiting list to see a child psychologist in our county since 2015. There were a total of 58 children on the waiting list in 2015. That figure rose to 126 in 2016. And to date, in 2017, and we're into our third month, there's a total, and I want the Minister to hear this, there are a total of 132 children on the waiting list, which is a staggering increase. It's a staggering increase of 127% since 2015, in a county which has a population of 64,000. This is totally and wholly unacceptable, and the situation seems to have deteriorated since last summer, when a child psychologist in County Roscommon was on sick leave and the post has been vacant since, which means there are now 132 children from County Roscommon on that waiting list and are unable to access child psychology services. I'm dealing with a boy from County Roscommon who was referred by his GP to the psychology service in Roscommon, but after several weeks of phone calls, his parents finally received a return call informing him that the psychologist looking after school-aged children was on sick leave since March 2016 and that a locum could not be found for the post. Officials could not say when the service would become available again, but they indicated that no children have been assessed since March and the waiting list would be significant. I have more to say, but I have to share time here. I will conclude by saying this. Roscommon is a very special case, and I'll tell you why. Apart from that 132 children, there are now 39 Syrian children coming into Balladreen in County Roscommon, where the government told us they would have every service in place. That is going to bring the figure to almost 200 children within a small county who cannot get the service. I plead to you, Minister, and I plead to you to go to the Minister for Health and sort this matter out as a matter of urgency.